There is a hidden weight we all carry, one that doesn't sit on our shoulders but lingers in our minds. It's the endless cycle of overthinking, regrets from the past, and worries about the future. We hold on to thoughts that serve no purpose, yet they drain our energy and steal our peace. But what if there was a way to break free? In this video, we'll explore ancient Buddhist wisdom that reveals the secret to letting go of mental clutter and living with true peace. Each chapter contains powerful insights that can transform your way of thinking. So stay with me till the end. And if you find this wisdom meaningful, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you never miss a chance to bring more clarity into your life. Have you ever noticed how a cluttered home makes you feel restless and overwhelmed? No matter how beautiful the space is, if it's filled with unnecessary junk, it becomes suffocating. The same is true for the mind. The Buddha taught that just as we clean our physical surroundings, we must also cleanse our minds from unnecessary burdens, old regrets, negative thoughts, and attachments that no longer serve us. But what exactly is mental garbage? It is the weight of past failures, fears of the future, and unnecessary comparisons. It is the judgmental thoughts we hold on to, the resentment we refuse to let go of, and the self-doubt that keeps us stuck in cycles of overthinking. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents a past mistake, a painful memory, or a lingering worry. The longer you carry this weight, the exhausted you feel. Yet, for some reason, most people never stop to ask, why am I still carrying this? The truth is, you don't have to. The first step to inner peace is recognition, acknowledging the mental clutter that is weighing you down. Ask yourself, what thoughts keep repeating in my mind but serve no real purpose? What past experiences am I holding on to that only bring pain? How often do I dwell on things I cannot control? Once you become aware of your mental burdens, you take the first step toward freeing yourself from them. If something is causing us suffering, why don't we just let it go? This is one of life's greatest paradoxes. Despite knowing that certain thoughts, emotions, and attachments are harmful, we struggle to release them. Buddhism explains that the mind, by its very nature, clings. It clings to identities, beliefs, memories, and even suffering itself because letting go feels like losing control. The mind convinces us that if we keep thinking about something, we might solve it, fix it, or make sense of it. But in reality, most of our overthinking only creates more suffering. A Buddhist parable tells the story of two monks traveling together. They come across a young woman struggling to cross a river. One monk carries her across and sets her down on the other side. Hours later, the second monk, troubled, asks, "How could you touch that woman? We have taken vows." The first monk replies, "I set her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" This story reminds us that we often carry burdens far longer than necessary. The event itself is not the problem. It is our refusal to let go that causes suffering. Think about the thoughts you keep revisiting. Are you holding on to something that has already passed? Are you carrying emotional burdens that no longer serve a purpose? Realizing this is the first step toward true freedom. Many people think letting go means forgetting, avoiding, or suppressing emotions. But true letting go is not about ignoring reality. It is about accepting it fully and choosing not to let it control you. Buddhism teaches that everything in life is impermanent. Thoughts come and go. Emotions rise and fall. Nothing is meant to be held onto forever. When we fight against this natural flow, we create suffering. But when we embrace impermanence, we find peace. Letting go means accepting that the past cannot be changed, recognizing that worrying about the future does not make it any more certain, understanding that peace comes not from control but from surrendering to life's flow. A simple practice. Whenever you feel yourself holding on to something painful, visualize placing it in a flowing river. Watch it drift away. Know that just like water, life keeps moving. Imagine your mind as a room. Over the years, it has collected furniture, decorations, and memories. Some are beautiful and comforting, but others are old, broken, and no longer needed. Yet, instead of removing what no longer serves us, we often let the clutter pile up. Once we begin to let go, a profound shift occurs. Life feels lighter. Problems that once consumed us no longer seem so important. We become more present, more at peace, and more in tune with the flow of life. The Buddha compared the mind to a still lake. When the water is disturbed, it becomes murky, and we cannot see clearly. But when we allow the ripples to settle, the water becomes clear, revealing everything beneath. A mind that is free from unnecessary thoughts is like a still lake, calm, peaceful, and full of clarity. To maintain this clarity, practice mindfulness by being fully present in each moment. Limit unnecessary mental clutter by questioning the thoughts you hold on to. Remind yourself daily that letting go is an ongoing practice, not a one-time event. One of the biggest reasons we struggle with overthinking and mental clutter is the illusion of control. We believe that if we think about something long enough, analyze it from every angle, and anticipate every possible outcome, we can control the future. But in reality, control is just an illusion that keeps us trapped in worry and fear. The Buddha taught that attachment to control is the root of suffering. Life is unpredictable, constantly changing, and beyond our ability to fully grasp. Yet, instead of embracing this reality, we resist it. We want things to go exactly as planned, people to behave the way we expect, and circumstances to unfold in our favor. When they don't, we feel frustrated, anxious, and lost. Imagine trying to hold onto water. The tighter you grasp, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you let it flow naturally, it moves effortlessly. The same is true for life. Instead of resisting uncertainty, what if we learned to embrace it? A simple mindset shift. Whenever you feel anxious about the future, remind yourself, I do not need to control everything. I only need to trust life's natural flow. Letting go of control does not mean giving up. It means choosing peace over worry. A Zen master once invited a student to his home for tea. As he poured, the cup filled to the brim. Yet the master kept pouring until the tea overflowed onto the table. The student, confused, said, "Master, the cup is full. No more will fit." The master smiled and replied, "Just like this cup, your mind is already full of expectations, assumptions, and judgments. Until you empty it, no new wisdom can enter." This story highlights a profound truth. Expectations create suffering. We expect people to be a certain way, events to unfold according to our plans, and life to meet our desires. When reality doesn't match our expectations, we feel disappointment, frustration, or even anger. But what if we could approach life like an empty cup, open, accepting, and free from rigid expectations? Try this. The next time you feel upset, ask yourself, was I suffering because of what happened, or because I expected something different? Often, our pain comes not from life itself but from our resistance to it. Among the heaviest forms of mental garbage is resentment. Holding on to anger and grudges is like carrying a burning coal, hoping it will hurt someone else. But in reality, it only burns us. The Buddha once told a story of two friends who had a disagreement. One refused to forgive, carrying anger for years, while the other let go and moved on. When asked why he forgave so easily, he replied, "Carrying anger only burdens my heart. I choose peace over pain." Forgiveness is not about excusing someone's actions. It is about freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. When you hold on to grudges, you allow the past to control your present. True freedom comes from releasing the pain and moving forward with a heart unburdened. A simple practice. Close your eyes, visualize someone you struggle to forgive, and silently repeat, I release this pain. I choose peace. I am free. The more you practice, the lighter you will feel. Have you ever noticed how thoughts seem to have a life of their own? One negative thought appears, and soon, a whole chain of worries, doubts, and anxieties follows. Before you know it, your mind is overwhelmed, trapped in endless overthinking. But Buddhism teaches that thoughts are like clouds in the sky or leaves floating on a river. They come and go, but they do not define you. The problem is not that negative thoughts arise. It is that we attach to them, analyze them, and give them power. Imagine sitting by a river, watching leaves float past. Some are small, some large, some beautiful, some damaged, but none of them stay forever. Now, imagine that each leaf represents a thought. Instead of grabbing each one and holding on to it, what if you simply observed it and let it pass? A powerful practice. Whenever a negative thought arises, instead of fighting it, say, this is just a thought. I do not have to believe it. I let it float away. Over time, you will realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer behind them. A monk once asked his master, what is the key to happiness? The master held up his open hand and said, not clinging to anything. The more we cling to material possessions, relationships, beliefs, or even identities, the more we set ourselves up for suffering. Why? Because everything in life is temporary. Nothing remains the same forever. When we try to hold on too tightly, we create anxiety, fear, and resistance. But when we live with an open hand, accepting life as it is, allowing things to come and go naturally, we experience true peace. Ask yourself, what am I clinging to that is causing me stress? What would happen if I simply let go? A daily reminder, happiness is not found in grasping, but in allowing. The less we cling, the freer we become. One evening, a Zen master was meditating by a river when suddenly, a boat bumped into him. At first, he felt irritation rising in his heart. But when he turned to scold the person responsible, he saw that the boat was empty. Immediately, his anger disappeared. He smiled, realizing that his frustration was pointless. It was his own mind that had created the problem. Later, he taught his disciples, if someone insults you or treats you unfairly, imagine they are an empty boat. Their actions are not about you. They are simply acting from their own conditioning. Most of the time, when people hurt us, it is not personal. Their actions are a reflection of their own pain, insecurities, or misunderstandings. But we take it personally, carrying anger, resentment, or sadness. In reality, we are only harming ourselves. A practice for daily life. Whenever someone upsets you, pause and ask yourself, is this truly about me, or is it their own struggle manifesting? Often, you will realize that their behavior has nothing to do with you. Letting go of personal attachment to others' actions is the key to peace. In Buddhist teachings, there is a famous koan, a paradoxical question meant to aid meditation. What is the sound of one hand clapping? At first, this seems like an impossible question. How can one hand make a sound? But the deeper meaning behind this koan is that true wisdom and clarity come from silence, not noise. In our daily lives, we are constantly surrounded by distractions. Social media, endless thoughts, conversations, and external stimuli. But have you ever noticed that your greatest insights come when you are in stillness? The mind, like a muddy pond, only becomes clear when left undisturbed. If we constantly stir it with noise, stress, and distractions, we never see the depth beneath. But when we cultivate silence, clarity naturally arises. Try this simple exercise. For just 5 minutes a day, sit in complete silence. No phone, no talking, no distractions. Just observe your breath and surroundings. Over time, you will notice that your mind becomes sharper, more peaceful, and free from unnecessary noise. The Buddha once explained suffering using the analogy of two arrows. The first arrow is unavoidable. Life will bring challenges, loss, and pain. However, the second arrow is optional. It is the suffering we create in our minds. For example, if you lose a job, that is the first arrow. It is painful, but it happens. However, if you then start thinking, I am a failure, I will never find another job, my life is ruined, you are shooting yourself with a second arrow. That second arrow, self-doubt, fear, regret, is what deepens suffering. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that while we cannot always control the first arrow, we can choose how we respond to it. Whenever you face a difficulty, ask yourself, am I making this harder by adding unnecessary suffering? If so, practice stopping at the first arrow. Accept the pain, but do not create extra suffering around it. Imagine you are playing a game of tug-of-war with a heavy rope. On the other side is your fear, your regrets, your stress. The more you pull, the stronger the resistance. Feels exhausting, yet you keep struggling. Now, imagine that instead of pulling harder, you simply let go of the rope. Instantly, all tension disappears. The struggle only existed because you held on. This is how many of us live. Fighting against reality, trying to force outcomes, resisting change. But what if the solution was not to struggle harder, but to surrender? This does not mean giving up. It means accepting things as they are and responding with wisdom rather than resistance. A simple practice. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, take a deep breath and say to yourself, I drop the rope. I do not need to struggle with this. Notice how freeing it feels. In a small monastery, an old monk carried a simple wooden bowl, a robe, and nothing else. One day, a rich man asked him, why do you live with so little? Don't you want more comfort? The monk smiled and replied, I am already free. The less I carry, the lighter my journey. True freedom does not come from having more, achieving more, or controlling more. It comes from letting go. The more mental garbage we throw away, our fears, attachments, worries, the more space we create for peace, joy, and wisdom. Take a moment to reflect. What are you carrying that you no longer need? A past mistake? A painful memory? A fear of the future? What would happen if you let it go? The secret to a peaceful life is simple. Let go, and you will be free. The mind is like a room. If we keep filling it with unnecessary things, there will be no space left for peace. The art of letting go is not about forgetting, but about releasing what no longer serves us. When we stop clinging to every thought, every worry, and every expectation, we create space for happiness and wisdom to flourish. If this message resonated with you, let me know by liking this video, sharing your thoughts in the comments, and most importantly, subscribing to the channel so you can continue receiving life-changing wisdom. Let's walk this journey toward a lighter, more peaceful life together. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.